Here we are, State Wars Hockey Podcast, episode number 31. Tim McManus here with Greg Thompson, Long Island, New York, on this beautiful Thursday. How's it going, GT?
Up, Tim? Just recovering from the weekend still. Having a baby, you go away thinking, you might get a couple of extra hours sleep, but not at State Wars. We're going late nights, early mornings. But it was nice actually sleeping in Sunday night. That helped big time. So still recovering. How you doing?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, last year this fall invitational was kind of a breeze to work. It was like you and I were playing in a couple divisions. There was only games from like noon to 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, whatever it was last year. And I think we only had about 25 teams playing, and it was kind of a breeze, especially from what we're used to. And there's some tournaments that may seem like a sellout tournament, 25 teams, but to us, it's like a little nothing. And but now this year, fall invitational, 85 teams. It was packed. So you were in your bubble over at Marple Sportsplex, games from 6 a.m. until midnight, and we were in our bubble over at the sports. You were at Marple Sports Arena. We were at Sportsplex, and we were going from 7:15 a.m. start till midnight. So like you said, not much rest for the weary.
No, but all in all, good weekend. Well worth it. As always, great seeing our hockey family, and with COVID and stuff going on, people were definitely cautious, coming to the building, and it was nice seeing people, leaving and whatnot in between games. But overall, I thought it was a fantastic weekend over at Marple, and had everything go at Sportsplex.
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, it was good seeing, people wearing their masks, which was nice, following the rules. Obviously when they're playing and whatnot, guys a little more, take it off and they're coming out of the locker room or running to the bathroom, whatever, you see a little bit more with the players. But, people coming in, same thing, abiding by the rules, coming and going, wearing their masks. As people are going to get it. It's going to happen at the rink or whatever. Nothing you can do about 100%. We can only do the best we can to avoid, people just doing the wrong thing. But as long as people do the right thing, stay home when they're sick, wear their masks, don't sit there coughing up all over each other. I think everyone is fine for the most part. And, we're dealing with athletes too. So some guys are going to get it and, they're going to get sick like they do and get better and move on. Unfortunately, it's just part of our world right now. But yeah, great weekend at the Sportsplex, and all the feedback we got from Marple was great too.
Yeah. Did you happen to see the Dave Portnoy little video he posted about COVID and stuff, and how he's not going to Thanksgiving because it's his choice, but he'll go to a restaurant? And I feel like he's right. It's one of those deals where his parents are older, he doesn't want to go to Thanksgiving and maybe give him COVID, and he wants to be careful. Totally agree with all his points that he made in his little video. So check out Barstool and look at his video. Pretty cool.
Yeah, everyone, how it is. Everyone's got opinions on this stuff. And we've talked about before, everyone's an expert, right? Everyone's political science major. Everyone's conspiracy theorist. Everyone's a scientist, a doctor. I don't claim to be anything. So I just.
Like your mailman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mailman Mike's an expert in everything.
Mailman Mike, man, I'm pulling out the other day. He caught me for a good 25 minutes, sending me YouTube links to check out.
Yeah, I just wish you would get the mail here on time is all I care about. But, it's, listen, like I tell everyone, you could find things with everything in this life. So I just kind of keep my head down, do my thing, do what's right for my family and my friends, and, move forward. And hopefully, things get better and better here. Just looking forward to, Thanksgiving will be a little weird this year, obviously. Christmas probably too. It's not as many families, being all together, but
yeah,
it stinks. But only so much I can control in my life. Big thing here too, this morning, Greg, we had talked about, I guess someone, making comments on Instagram and writing stuff and using foul language and
get a life. Jeez.
We'll just get in, and being upset because we deleted it and calling me names because we delete comments and stuff. But, just for the record, for anyone out there, State Wars Hockey, first and foremost, is a youth hockey event. It always has been. It was built on that in 2005. It was about the kids first. It's gotten huge with adults now. But when we started State Wars 2005, it was 95% about the youth, and we've taken on a whole nother animal with the Palma Pro division, everything else. But I'll never forget that. You know, it's youth first. You know, youth is the future of this. So you don't hear us playing songs with poor language on it at the event or on Instagram or Facebook. And if people make comments and use bad language or just, you know, looking to start a fight about stuff, but just to start a fight, we're not going to engage in that stuff, or I'm not going to. You know, it's just going to be deleted. And if you're someone that's going to post inappropriate things on our accounts, we're just going to delete it and have you unfollowed. And that's nothing to do with anything other than we don't want the kids and families that go on they go on State Wars social media to learn about State Wars and good things about roller hockey, not to read bad language or other things with other agendas and whatnot. So if you're looking to do that, you found the wrong guys in the wrong place. And I'm not a keyboard killer. I'm not going to sit there and type back and forth and badmouth someone or make comments, and it's just not my style. I got young kids of my own. I try to be someone that the kids can look up to on my end and be a good leader and not someone that's just going to argue. So again, if you are a customer of ours and you're at one of our events and you have an issue with something, give us a call, talk to us face to face, or, you know, shoot us an email and we'll talk to you. If you're someone that's commenting on something that you don't even play in, honestly, I don't really care what you think. You're not even part of it. So no sense of getting involved in something. I could care less what people are doing in their lives. So don't worry about what we're doing, you know? And people, a lot of times, it's funny how, Greg, in this world, the comment people like to make about things is, you always hear this all the time in any business. Oh, they're all about the money or about this or whatever. Look, I'm the owner of State Wars Hockey. I'm going to say it for the record here. State Wars Hockey is a business. We make money. Okay. I'm not going to lie about it. That's what we do. Just like everyone else in this world. If we made no money, we couldn't hold these events. I don't do this out of the goodness of my heart. I do it because I love it. I love hockey and I make money and I have a living off it. Okay. It is what it is. And that's not a negative. Okay. People in this world who run, you know, nonprofits and all these other things and pretend to be better. Most of them are making more money than anybody. I run a business. It is what it is. Greg works for me. He makes a living. I make a living. That's what we do. It is what it is. Without money, we couldn't run these tournaments, and it's not a knock. I'm proud of what we've built here at State Wars, and I don't consider it a negative that it's a money run business. We don't make decisions purely about money. We do hockey first. We run the best tournaments in the world. Everyone knows it, or else they wouldn't come. And honestly, if State Wars is not for you, don't come. There'll be someone else waiting to come. End of my rant. Let's move on to Fall Invitational. So, Greg, let's start with Marple Sportsplex. So we had the kids there and the pros. Let's start with the 600 division. Let's talk a little about how awesome having a 4-team 600 division was in this tournament.
Yeah, well, first I just want to talk about Marple and you know, their staff over there. It's just very helpful. You know, Anthony Flynn and the crew. You know, I walked in Friday night, and you know, he was so helpful, and his staff putting up banners with me and helped me set up all that good stuff. So I just want to give a shout out to the Marple staff for a great weekend. Yeah, he's doing some good things over at Marple. You know, they got some school online school stuff there during the day. So some volleyball, some soccer on the rink when hockey's not going on. So looks like they're filling some hours over there, which is good, especially during these times. So great to see, and awesome to see Anthony Flynn. It's been a little while, so good stuff over at Marple. But yeah, we'll start off with the 6U. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was all Black Ice. I mean, Black Ice had a real good team, and you know, led by Declan McNamee. Kid's a stud. You know, he actually did a Michigan in the game. I think it was against the Cougars, but yeah, he pulled off a Michigan, which is pretty nice. I know the Long Island Excelsior, they were missing a couple guys. You know, they had some players bail last minute, but Coach Dino Barone ended up still, you know, bringing 4 kids, which was good. He didn't bail on the event, and they still made it to the finals and put up a good fight. But it was just awesome to see, you know, Longcrest Lightning with Charlie Skrillo, senior, junior involved. Good to see them back coaching, especially the old man. So that was pretty cool.
Best mustache in the game right there, GT.
Best mustache in the game. But yeah, those of you who don't know Charlie Skrillo, he's part of the AAU board, Team USA, and he was our manager for our men's team a couple summers ago in Barcelona. So Charlie does great things in the sport, and it's awesome to see him back coaching. So that's pretty cool.
Let me ask you a quick question about that Black Ice team. So I've heard people say, "Oh, Black Ice is a dominating 6U." I'm assuming some of those kids were kids from like Derek Kern's 6U group that have been to State Wars representing New York the last couple of years, right? I mean, it's not just a sudden like black ice group, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't think it was too many kids from the ring from Rapid Fire, but I think it was a lot of the ice kids who were pretty skillful. I know talking with some of the other coaches in the division, they were just you know in awe basically of the team, just because at 6U either there's a couple kids that could skate normally, but that black ice team was pretty good for 6 and under. I mean, everyone was pretty damn good, and they're all skillful. So that's you don't see that a lot in 6U.
Right.
You know,
Well,
uh,
definitely shows, Greg. We talk about ice hockey and roller, but at the 6 and under, 8 and under level, if you get a kid that some of these kids are probably on the ice more than an NHLer, they're on the
yeah,
ice 7 days a week, some of these kids, and then they go to a roller tournament, the amount of hours of hockey they have in their bodies compared to, I'm assuming a lot of the kids on Choice Inline Cougars, which, shout out to Melissa Jenkins from New Jersey for getting that group together. And, Charlie's Longcrest Lightning. A lot of those kids are probably just beginner hockey players,
yeah,
whereas they're playing against kids that have, 500 hours of ice experience already under their belts and play roller hockey.
exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. It's funny, you hear parents or other coaches, asking about rosters and birth certificate checks and stuff like that. And it's pretty comical at 6U. This division's more about fun. I honestly think, and I know a lot of those kids are going back and forth to ice hockey in between their 6 and under games.
Yeah.
So, you know, um,
I learned through my own kids, Greg. Like, I have a 7-year-old, and she's a pretty good soccer player, but she's played a lot of soccer, So when I compare her to a kid that doesn't play much soccer, it's hard to say, oh, wow, this kid is just such a talented kid. Granted, certain kids are good and all, but if I've played golf for 10 years and you start playing 2 weeks ago, I'm probably gonna be a lot better golfer than you, right, Greg? I mean, that's just what it doesn't mean I'm gonna be 10 years from now,
Yeah.
but you have that advantage. And not to take away from the kids that are really good, but at the young age, they've just started so much younger, played so much more. So I guess the reason I'm even bringing it up is I would not want those Cougar kids or those Longcrest Lightning kids to give up on it.
Yeah, of course.
So did Derek coach the 6U the whole time over there, or was
So
Jason?
it was Coach Derek Kern and Jay Muro. They coached together. Jay had to go to the other rink for a game after the 6 and under final. But yeah, good little team. Obviously they have a lot of hockey experience. So our champions were Mission Black Ice. Our MVP was Declan McNamee. And our silver medalist is Long Island Excelsior. So great job by all teams there.
Yeah, it's awesome when you look at 6U. I know we've talked about this before, but you see, Coach Dino getting these kids going from Skate Safe, and now that he's coaching more ice, get more kids checking out the wheels. And Derek Kern, who has an 8U team in this tournament you'll get to in a minute, and a 6U team, former sniper, played in a pro division, played for Team USA, college ice hockey player, just a great hockey guy and a great guy for the sport. He's getting these young kids going with his boys. He had a son playing first time in a tournament 6 and under. Then you get Melissa Jenkins, who's been around forever, and she's constantly getting young kids started in New Jersey. And now Charlie Scarillo, who, again, he played for Team USA, coaches the women's Team USA team, the son, Charlie Jr. And, they run the rink out at NERC out in Pennsylvania. But now he had 2 boys on that team. And then they're getting their buddies playing and stuff. So you're just seeing the cycle starting again, Greg. And that's what's so awesome is these younger coaches having kids, getting the kids started. And that's where the sport evolves from.
Yeah, no, it's all good stuff. And saw little Bowers out there as well. I saw Lee Bowers at the rink, with his camera, and so it's pretty exciting for these young parents, with their young ones starting up. So it's pretty neat stuff. And as always, my favorite division.
100%.
So
that was that. And then we got an 8 and under division, Greg. So we had a 5-team 8U. So everyone played 4 games. Everyone played every team in the division.
yeah.
And I see here, the DSC Lebeda Devils, Scott Ives, and Kurt Rager, who are doing a great job with the younger Devils teams. They went 4-0 in the round robin. And obviously they kept going in the playoffs, it looks like, and ran the gamut, winning the championship.
Yeah, they had a real good team. They've been, in every game, in the past. I don't think they've won a State Wars tournament yet, but they were always there. They're getting better and better. They skate, I would say, a couple times a week together, practices and stuff like that. So they're getting better and better, and they have a really good team, man. My favorite game of the tournament, for the division, was actually on Sunday morning. It was a game, Empire Snipers versus the DSC Levada Devils. Honestly, I thought the sniper team had them, but DSC came up strong and ended up scoring some late goals. But that sniper team I was impressed with because I think they were a lot younger than a lot of these teams, and they just moved the puck so well. A couple of the other teams, they didn't move the puck as well as the sniper team. I just thought they had a couple stud players who could just kind of take the puck end to end and shoot pretty good. But looking at that team, they moved the puck real well. But DSC was just stronger. They had great goaltending, and just all around they had a deeper team. But yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that sniper passing, Greg. As someone who coached Derek Kern for a long time and then played with him a lot, and obviously a very good friend, it's no shock to me knowing that teams that he coached are going to pass the puck.
Yeah, and that was the difference between the sniper team and the other teams in the division. I think they moved the puck pretty well. The other teams just kind of relied on their skill, size, and speed. Wasn't too much passing going on. You'd see a little here and there, but at that age, it's tough when the kids are just stronger and faster and can shoot better. Especially against smaller goalies and the same goal that NHL goalies play against.
Pretty awesome though, seeing an Empire Sniper team for me on the 8 and under team list there, Greg.
Yeah.
And then big announcement recently, Coach D bringing back the Tour Dragons to Long Island, and I was getting that going again. And you think about it, there was a time back in early 2000s when the two top organizations on Long Island, Nassau County, you had the Empire Snipers, and Suffolk County, you had the Tour Dragons. So
yeah,
hopefully Derek get that going again with the Snipers, building more of that again. I know he's excited about that. And, Coach Dino Verone, who made a comment just now that of another player or two, he felt he could have taken 6 and under. But, him wanting to get the Dragons back, and GT, lucky enough to play for both great organizations. Started out as a Dragon and then wound up coming over to the dark side with the Snipers.
Yeah. That was many moons ago, Tim. Now it's crazy to think about how long ago that was. Been a sniper for almost 20 years. So it's hard to even remember the Dragon days, but we always had some good teams. We kind of started folding and guys are going other places. So that's when I saw the light to come to the sniper side. So been there ever since. But yeah, no. So back to the 8U division. Another solid division. Like I said, DSC, they were above the rest in the division. They took Long Island Excelsior in the finals. They even mercied them 14-6. Looks like a football score. But there were some good teams. Rink Rat, New Jersey. They had a real young team in that division. Lots of promise for that team. A lot of ice hockey players just coming over. Move the puck real well. Good little team. Also the Black Ice team, real good team. They tied Long Island earlier in round robin, and then they lost. I think they lost top 2 made it to the final, right, Tim? And that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So they didn't get a playoff spot in the championship, but a lot of good teams, a lot of competitive games, but DSC just they were ahead of the rest.
Yeah, that DSC team, I know they brought a New Jersey team to State Wars last year from the Devils that played 8U. So yeah, again, Scott Ives, Kurt Rager, coaching staff there doing a great job. And who's the MVP there, Greg?
The MVP is Ryan Jacobs.
Oh, Ryan, 10 goals, 1 assist, and I think he just played 3 of the 4 round robin games. Pretty impressive there.
And it looked like Dino's 8 and under team, this team right here, Long Island Excelsior. They had a bunch of 6U players as well. Including the goalies. So hats off to them, man. They play great, and see T-Bone Padula here.
Oh yeah,
nice and happy.
But
yeah, good overall effort by them, and hats off to DSC to finally capture that trophy.
I want to mention too, with that 8 and under New Jersey Rink Rat team, Raul Batista put together a lot of teams here. He's stepping it up in New Jersey now. With things changing at Skater's Choice, and excuse me. they had that Cougars organization from there. Mike Stover retiring. Shout out to Mike Stover, old-time friend, who did an amazing job. He was part of beginning days in the State Wars with his son Michael playing and whatnot for Team New Jersey. But Raul seems like he's going to be taking over the reins a lot with teams and kids, and he put a lot of teams together. He was running back and forth between rinks. His wife actually helped bring some prizes over for us from one rink to the other, saved me a 45-minute drive each direction. So thank you for that again. But shout out to Raul for getting things started with Rink Rat New Jersey as well.
Yeah, no, all good stuff. They matched pretty nicely with all their jerseys. Look sharp out there, and it's great to see a new program going. And it's sad to see the Cougar name kind of fizzling out. It looks like maybe Melissa Jenkins might be keeping it going. We'll see. It's kind of sad to see an old organization like the Cougars kind of fizzle out with Stover out of the mix.
Let's jump over here to a division from Sportsplex. We'll jump around a little bit here. Let's talk about the senior AA division. So the AA division over there. So for people who don't know at home, and this is kind of where the whole thing started on the stupid comments on Instagram. So the senior AA is our second highest division. We have pro, then senior AA, and then senior A. And the senior AA, we allow one pro player to be on a roster even in those teams. So senior AA is pretty strong. It's really strong at State Wars in the summer, as you know, Greg.
Yeah.
I still think that there's some teams in senior AA that could hang with some of the lower pro teams. And then here at the Sportsplex at the Fall Invitational, we had 9 teams. We had teams from Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Rhode Island in that division. Just a real good division overall. So because we had 9 teams, what we did there was everyone played 2 games to start, and then we reseeded, and then we had an 8-9 playing game, and then move forward to the quarterfinals, quarter semis, and finals. So after the round robin play, Liberty OG from PA, the Connecticut Coasters, and Rink Rat Impact from New York were the 3, 2-0 teams from that point. And then we started moving on to the playoffs. That 8-9 game was between the Rhode Island Committed and SK Nightmare. But Greg, between all these teams, you had a lot of good, players playing on different teams. You had, just to name a few, you talk about different pro guys and whatnot. You have, from Rhode Island, the Rhode Island team. I know he missed some games there, but you have a pro player that plays for
the Garrett Basslet.
Yeah, Baslet's not plays for Palma sometimes. I think this weekend he was playing for Envious this weekend?
Yeah.
Envious Rink Rat. So Basslet was there playing. At Anthony Merrigan, who plays for the Liberty Pro team, also playing for his AA team. And then you have some guys that are just, high-end players like Ryan Marker, who's played some pro before for the Roadrunners and some other teams. He was playing with the DSC Levada Devils team there. Yeah. So, you always get a good mix of guys. Brett Jackson, who plays with the Roadrunners, I believe he was playing with a team over there as well. Jeff Kotcher.
O'Shaughnessy.
Yep, O'Shaughnessy was playing. So, you get a lot of good players there. And then I'm looking at the list. You got Robbie Belergeron. He was playing as well for Connecticut. You get Charlie Scrillo, who's played at a pretty high level playing in that division. Matt Graybert. So, just some good players all around playing in both divisions. So, pretty tough. But, that Connecticut Coasters team, they surprised some people this weekend, Greg. I mean, they came to State Wars this summer, didn't do so hot.
Yeah.
Then they were at Not So Winter Wars back in September. They went 1-2 in the round robin and didn't make the playoffs. And they basically had the same roster coming this time now. Yeah. And they did really well. And, the big surprise of the tournament was Adam Ernie, who's seen right in the middle there with the mask. He plays in the NHL for the Detroit Red Wings. And he's a legit NHL player. He played, I think, 50 or 60 games last year for them. He played back in September with the Coasters. And, obviously our eyes were on him. We heard a Red Wing was playing. Wasn't the strongest skater. You could tell, obviously, he had some skill. But this tournament, he looked so much better, got better skates, looked more comfortable on his feet. Still not there, I'm sure, for his liking as far as the skating goes. But he's got the shot, got the hands, and he wound up having 9 points in the round robin. And then he wound up winning MVP towards the championship.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like that, you put him in the slot, he's going to bury goals all day long. No matter how bad his skating is, he could fire the puck, and he's got obviously an awesome hockey IQ and skill. So, yeah, he's probably deadly in the slot. And I'm sure teams really didn't didn't really match up well with him with his size and his reach, but probably should have watched him a little more on the rink. That's for sure.
And then you add in someone like Robbie Bergeron, who is just as deadly on the rink and obviously more of a roller skater, and another high-end ice player. I'm not sure if he was ever drafted. Someone made a rumor that he was drafted in the NHL. I'm not sure if that's true, Greg.
Let's look it up right now. I heard Ottawa maybe, but I hear a lot of things.
Yeah, Robbie Bergeron, a real good, and Jeff Arscott, used to work for State Wars. He was one of our scorekeepers back in the day. He's a pretty strong player as well out there.
Yeah. No, Senior A is always a great division.
There's another guy, Greg, too, Steve Rosenkrantz. I was watching him out there, number 19.
Yeah,
pretty good player too. Like, I was pretty impressed with him. I thought that he was Bergeron at first. I'm like, who's at 19? He's pretty good. And I realized 9 was Robbie and 19 was Steve. But Rosenkrantz, pretty good player. This Connecticut Coasters team, they keep these guys together. They're going to be a good team to match up with the Mud Snakes and Carshield and the Ohio group and some of those top Palma AA teams this summer at State Wars.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I did know Robbie was drafted by Ottawa. I just kind of had a brain there. But yeah, he was 136 overall in the 2012 entry draft. So yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff there. And he played a little in the East Coast Hockey League after some time at Boston University, and then he played for Arizona State as well. So
he looked better this weekend too, Greg, didn't he?
Excuse me?
He looked better this weekend too, I thought.
Yeah, he's loving roller hockey right now, so he's on his skates a ton. And he was a pure roller hockey player back in the day, so it was only a matter of time until he got his bearings under him again. So yeah, he's looking really good out there, and he looked really good in pro too.
Imagine Travis Baggs-Bokina jumps on that squad. They get a little veteran leadership with him. If he could realize that I'm not too good for this division and come out and play with those guys, that could be a nice boost for those guys.
Yeah, no, seriously. And they just got to kind of juggle the old pro players on the team type of deal there, because
he got to get his girlfriend to sign a waiver for him too, for Baggs. He's
yes.
He's not the one making the decisions always. For
stuff not anymore.
Danny Genovese makes an old-time sniper makes a comment on our comments here, Greg. He remembers you coming over with your tour skates and tour gloves. Good times. Love what you guys do for the sport. Keep up the good work. So Danny Genovese remembers Greg Thompson coming over from the Dragons to the Snipers. That was the shock heard around the world on Long Island at one time.
Yeah,
GT was coming to the Snipers.
Many moons ago, Tim. Many moons ago, and I'd love to see Danny start bringing his ice kids again to play some roller hockey. Jack, I skated with those guys at the beginning of actually towards the middle of quarantine when we can kind of get out, and so we skated at an outdoor rink out in Queens, and he brought his son there, and bigger than Danny actually.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not width wise.
Yeah, no.
Thank God.
No.
But no, he's a big boy, and he's a good hockey player. So it'd be cool to see him back playing some tournaments.
I'll tell a funny story with Danny Genovese and some of the boys. So back in the day with the Snipers, when we used to have tryouts and whatnot, just one day, Danny and a bunch of these kids from Queens or Manhattan and other parts of the city show up at our tryouts. I don't remember how they heard about it. And they were all pretty good. So we take them on the team, and you could tell Danny was pretty special right away. But these guys were some of the most dedicated guys ever. And I'm talking about, Tristan Gardner, who still plays, Blake Rodriguez, Julio Lemoyne, who actually, full circle, was bringing teams from Columbia the last couple of years to State Wars.
Marcus.
What's Chris's last name? What's his last name? Thurman. Yeah. And then Danny.
Marcus. Guys, what about Marcus?
Oh, Marcus Prosciutto, right? And Marcus, another one, and he's bringing a team from Spain to come to State Wars. So good thing I was nice to these guys. But, these guys, Greg, I would pick them up at the train station in the morning. They would come out to practice with me when we were practicing at sport time. And I would have like 3 or 4 teams of practices that day. They would come out with me in the morning, skate, and then just stick around all day and just skate around the rinks or go out for long, whatever they did. And it was unbelievable to me. And they never missed a practice. And even when I didn't pick them up, they were always still there. And I used to always, laugh to myself how independent these city kids were, where we'd have kids from Long Island on the team that if mom couldn't drive them to practice, they were missing it. And, they couldn't figure out how to get there. But these guys are coming from Manhattan and stuff and getting all the way out to Bethpage for practice. So, and they're just what independent kind of kids they were, and
Yeah.
they're just so dedicated to hockey. And just to ramble on for one more second here, I'll never forget our first year going to Norwich and Toronto. I drove there. So it was me, Danny Genovese, Tristan Gardner, and Rob Shear. And we drove my old Pathfinder. And I remember going to Norwich, and our first game in, I guess it was the Pee Wee division, 14U. We're warming up, and someone left the gate open, and Tristan crashed into the opening of the gate in warm-ups of the first game, injured himself, and never played the whole tournament. And I drove this poor kid there all the way from Long Island to Toronto, and he had to just watch the rest of the time. So like a freak injury. But yeah, just good memories.
I remember that whole situation. You know, I'm not sure if I was playing in division above them or same division, because they were at 85s. I'm at 84. I don't know if I was.
I think you were first year. I think that was second year Pee Wee. We were.
Okay.
Danny won, made the All-Star team for Norwich first year out as a Pee Wee, second year Pee Wee.
Yeah, so I do remember that story. I remember seeing that there. It was kind of upsetting to see. But yes, some good memories for sure.
No, definitely great stuff, and great people, and and obviously lifelong friends now. So great stuff, and yeah, let's get Danny. Danny's got like 18 kids. Let's start getting your kids playing roll hockey again, Dan. We need to see him at State Wars. So, but yeah, so let's move on. We'll jump back to Marple Sports Arena. The tenant on the division, Greg. What happened there?
Yeah, so 10U division was won by Long Island Excelsior. Coach G finally got that win under his belt, going 0-2 with the 8s and the 6s. But the 10U team ended up beating Rink Rat, New Jersey in the final. Another great game. Tim, I don't know about you, but how many times a day do you get a spam risk call? I mean, it's just getting ridiculous.
Email. I think I had 5 people tell me they're leaving their billions of dollars to me from some other country yesterday.
Yeah, seriously. But no, another good division. A team I was impressed with the Cobras as always. They didn't make it to that final, but they had a real good team. They ended up losing a game against Rink Rat, New Jersey, which I guess ultimately knocked them out of the playoffs. But yeah, bunch of good teams in that division. It was great seeing some Stingray teams in the division. They're real passionate. Those guys, they love the sport. Had some good conversations with them.
I'm looking here, Greg, on the leading scorers, and Alex Klonsky from Excelsior had 13 points, but then Tyler Ricci from the inline 309 Stingrays from Pennsylvania had 9 goals and 10 points. So he must have been some player as well.
Yeah, he was. And, I was talking to his father a bunch over the weekend. He's real involved in the sport, loves it, always at our events. And he's a big guy, big marketing guy. He does a lot of little houses. He was showing me his Instagram page. They have thousands and thousands of followers, and he's big into the marketing. So I had some good conversations with him about just the sport and just trying to grow it and stuff like that. But, great team. Also you had Mission Black Ice as well, and DSC Levada Devils in that division. Pretty competitive division ultimately, with Long Island just leading the charge. With a real strong team. That group's always very good. They've been playing together for a long time now with Ackroft and Cohen, and Heights and Botkins and all those.
Who's MVP there, Greg?
MVP of that game. Sorry, just kind of caught me off guard. I think it was Alex Klonsky, but let me just double check. Yeah, Alex Klonsky, MVP.
The scorer of the tournament.
Yeah, let me pop up a picture here. He was pretty dominant throughout the event. Had a good championship game as well. There is the championship team there. And here's your MVP. There you go. There's your second place team, New Jersey Rink Rat. They had a good crew there with Rahul leading the charge there.
Those are the Rink Rat
Pro jerseys.
The pro guys wearing those jerseys as well.
Yeah, they look sharp. Little, I think Joaquin Chavera is right there in the picture.
Yeah, stuck his face in there.
Pretty neat. But yeah, another strong division.
That Rink Rat team did pretty well too. So, and the Cobras team, Mike Jacobs' team, former owner of Marple, at his team and with his son. I know his younger son did really well in the 8U division.
Mhm.
But yeah, good division there as well. And that Long Island team just seemed a little bit notch above everybody in this tournament, I guess.
Yeah, they were. They had some real good players on that team, and like I said, they've been playing together for a long time. A lot of these kids, whether it be 495ers or NAROL or State Wars, stuff like that. A lot of these kids have been playing a long time together. So
When
um,
you fast forward to the 12U, Greg, is it fair to say that maybe that Black Ice 12U team might have been the most dominant youth team in their division in the whole tournament?
yeah, I'd say so. You know, they didn't let up a goal the entire tournament, Tim, which is pretty impressive. I don't think I've seen that in a long time because, you always see one at least cheesy
Right,
goal
right.
pop in, bad ankle shot or bad bounce or something like that. But that's very impressive. I haven't seen that in a long time. But yeah, they won that division over the Assaults. Goaltender Nigel Smith got the MVP. It's funny, we're talking to the Raps and stuff after the game. They couldn't come up with a true MVP just because that team is just so good.
Hmm.
And I asked Jason Muro, he goes, no, he goes, everyone was so good. It's your pick. So I ended up going with Nigel Smith, goaltender. Not ultimately, obviously he probably didn't get too many shots over the course of the weekend, but at the same time, it's pretty impressive not letting in a goal the entire time.
Yeah, 4 shutouts. And
Yeah,
plus, it makes it easy to pick in between players, right? That you really can't figure it out.
exactly. So that was pretty impressive to me. So Nigel, got the MVP honors, and here's Mission Black Ice.
The big boy, Nigel.
Yeah, yeah, really nice kid as well.
Yeah, I remember him from tryouts.
And here's the 12U Assault team, our silver medalists.
Yeah, and a coach up there on the right, he plays on the 45 and over assault team.
Yep.
It's funny with the 12U, the way Queen's Finest come out for the first time, finally, they were hoping to come to State Wars. They couldn't get there. They're hoping to come to Not So Winter Wars. I wasn't sure we'd ever see them. Finally got their team to this. It's tough because, in a normal tournament for us, especially in Winter Wars, Greg, we have so many teams that were able to have a higher division and a lower.
Yeah.
And, a Queen's Finest wouldn't be playing that Black Ice team, with this fall invitational, especially doing the youth the first time, just didn't have time for it. So it's like you basically have one division. And it was such a mixed bag here because going into the tournament, you're thinking that because of ice hockey always going on so much, it's going to be a little bit more lower level for everyone. But then you had a lot of teams. I think Dino ran into this where I know Koisik did as well with his Alkali Rebel teams, that you had some ice players that suddenly last minute wanted to come play because their ice tournaments were canceled with everything going on right now. So suddenly you had some studs jumping on teams that you weren't counting on that totally threw things off as well. So,
And we don't see a lot of the rosters till a day or two before when the coaches send it. So it's pretty hard for us to rank the teams beforehand, or maybe not allow them to play in the division.
Right. Yeah, you almost hope in hindsight's 2020, you'd almost say like, this Black Ice 12U team, you don't even want them in there, because it just won by 14 you why they dominate.
It's funny. It's funny you say, with the ice hockey and stuff going on over the weekend. The Stingrays, I think it was their 16U team. They had their team, I guess, and then last second, a bunch of the kids ended up coming to roller hockey, and they had like an army on their bench.
Yeah.
But with ice hockey being shut down last minute, a lot of the kids ended up coming to roller hockey, which was cool.
Yeah, so let's jump back to the Sportsplex. So we'll bring up one of the divisions I played in, the 45 and over division. So Greg, here we had a 4-team division. It was the same 4 teams that played back in September in the Not So Winter Wars event. The Scorchers from PA, Taurus Salt, New Jersey, Levada Snipers, New York, and Richard Austin, the New York team. So real even division, Greg. We had 3 of the 4 teams went 2-1.
Yeah.
Tied for first place, and it came down to goal differential because just top 2 made the final. But even Richard Austin's team, we played them the first game. They were beating us 2-1 at half. We wound up winning the game 5-3, but it was a close game with them. So I really felt anybody could beat anyone, and it's pretty cool, even at 45 and over, to see guys so passionate and into it. Guys are working their bags off out there. But, just a real rookie mistake by our team, the Snipers. We were 2-0, Greg, going into Sunday. our last round robin game was against the Scorchers, and everyone on our team, I think, just assumed we were in the final. And the Scorchers, they were 1-1. Assault were 1-1. Richard Austin was 0-2. We were only 2-0, and we fell behind 4-0. They came out like gangbusters, and we were still sleeping, I think. I know I was. And all of a sudden, midway through the game, Chris Badul is like, I don't know if we're going to make the championship if we lose this game. And we're like, start thinking about it. So I'm like doing the math in my head on the bench about how many goals everyone's given up. And we're like, holy cow, we may not make it. And we scored one, made it 4-1. And, we just couldn't score. And sure enough, you look at it here, the goal differential, Scorchers were +4, Assault was +3, and we were +2. And had we scored one more goal, we would have tied the Assault, but I think we would have knocked them out. So it really just came to that. That shows how close the division was. Then the Astor Assault played the Scorchers in the final. And once again, as they seem like they've done, I don't know how many tournaments in a row, the Tour Assault take home the 45 and over trophy. And Vinny Comito won back-to-back MVPs. He won it back 2 months ago in September. We shut him down pretty good, I know, in the round robin game. I know he's listening right now, so I said that. But he came through in the big one like he always does. And I think it's the third tournament in a row that we beat the Assault in the round robin. Only usually we lost to them in the final, but this time we didn't even make it. So they're definitely the juggernaut in the division right now, Tour Assault.
Yeah, and they always come with like a short roster,
Hey, don't pick on Granucci.
Yeah, they always come with a small roster, and they still end up, doing pretty well. And they play multiple divisions, so they just always find a way to win. We got a question: why no medals given out to teams?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one. Yeah, no, it's there's multiple reasons why there's no medals given out, but the big one is you have to order the medals about 4 months out to get them for the tournament made, where we get them made.
Yeah.
So we didn't even decide we were even going to have youth divisions at this tournament until a month and a half ago. And then with COVID and everything this year, we have probably we have 2 tournaments worth of medals, which is about $10,000 in medals sitting at a rink that we never were able to use because of COVID. So with all the uncertainty with tournaments being canceled, unfortunately, it's not something we could do. Is just make medals and hope we get to give them out.
You mean you don't make them at the house in the backyard?
Yeah, right. We don't make the medals here. So we did it. I think we went a step further, and we gave out nice long sleeve shirts and also wheels for every team. So we went out and got the sponsor to give out wheels. And I know anyone I spoke to, if I said, would you rather have a medal or a set of wheels, majority said they'd rather have a set of wheels. So we're pretty excited with that. And I think majority, you can't make everybody happy, but I think most medals get thrown in the bottom of bags. I think the wheels go to a much better use, and it was just much more efficient for us as a business to get them made in time, especially all the money and time we put into our medals are not the 30-cent medals that most ice hockey tournaments give out. So we put a lot into our medals.
Chocolate in the middle.
Yeah, no, none of the peeled chocolate medals. So that's why. So we get out the long sleeve, pro performance shirts and the wheels. So we're pretty happy with that. And
I think, like you said, I think majority of people were, and not everyone's always going to be happy, but got to understand, these are crazy times, and for us to get medals 4 months ago without even knowing that there's a youth division going on, I thought we made pretty good with our prizes. So
yeah, and a big shout out to our sponsors. Connex wheels, Lebeda wheels, Rink Rat wheels, and Chemistry wheels through Tour Hockey. All 4 of them supplied wheels for all of our winners, which is not easy. So at the end of the day, instead of getting a $8 medal, they got a $80 set of wheels. So we think that worked out pretty well. So thanks again to the sponsors for doing that for us.
No, for sure. I agree there.
So let's jump back here to Marple. So you had your 14U division, Greg.
Yeah, so 14U, another strong division, Tim. Black Ice leading the way. They just have a real good core there. They got a good group of players. Ended up beating Alkali New York in the finals. Another strong team. I think they ended up playing against each other in the last round robin game, and then ended up playing them again in the championship game. Both close games. I know Alkali was up on Mission Black Ice 2-0 in the final, and then Mission Black Ice ended up coming back and beating them overall ultimately at the end of the day. So Black Ice has a good team in that division. And it was pretty cool to see because I know that they're real friendly with the Alkali New York team. Not a lot of bad blood there, which is good. Usually, especially at this age, a rival from the same area come to play against each other. You always see like kind of a dirty game, but it was nothing like that. A lot of respectable teams there, and overall, again, Black Ice takes it home. Iska, New Jersey had a team in.
Peter Abbasis, by the way, again, another big tournament for him. I saw 12 points in the round robin for Alkali. He's a stud, huh?
Yeah, he can play. He's a big boy. He's a character too. Real nice kid. I'm sure if we said if we told you who his dad was, you'd laugh because he's a character as well.
Oh, Manny, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of guys know who he is from the stands. He's kind of like Ken Halverson, like a loud guy.
Yeah,
but he's a character. Good, nice guy. But his kid's genuine as well. So.
Well, speaking of characters, I got to jump in real quick and mention head coach Chris Hoysick on that team, and everyone knows Chris, he'll have a flat brim hat on, he's tatted up a little bit. You'd would think he's an assistant principal here on Long Island, but he's a very raspy voice. But I got to tell you, if we had more Chris Hoysicks in the sport, it might be the biggest sport in the world, because what I love about Chris, and honestly, I could say this about all the coaches probably here, Jay Muro, Dennis Jelsic, John Granucci, Justin Fabloro, Scott Ives, all the guys. But what I love about Chris is he deals a lot with his group. He's got a lot of ice guys, and they'll tell him last minute they got an ice tournament they got to go to suddenly, or this happened or that. And he's one of those guys where he just rolls with the punches, and he'll tell you, hey, I don't care if I'm coming with 4 guys. Like, we'll be there. Like, my kids live for this, and we're going to be there. We're committed, and we're coming. And he's dealt with a lot with that group, whether it was COVID or Indiana and ice hockey, and, you know how it is, unfortunately, with ice hockey, Greg. We dealt with this back in the day. You could have a tournament that weekend, and the ice coach will let them know on Thursday they got to practice on Friday morning, and people will bail on you because they're so afraid of their ice coaches. So Chris deals with all that, but he's just so positive, and he just makes it happen. And I just want to give him a shout out because it's guys like him. He's not the big name guy like a Jay Muro or a Jelsic or some of those guys, Dino, but behind the scenes, he does so much just to get the kids there. And he had a team again for 14U and 16U. So I want to thank Coach Chris for all he does.
I want to give him a shout out as well because, we had Shane and I who are working at Marple, we had a pro game at the same time. So there would have been no one working. So I asked Chris before the game, I said, Chris, I knew Jay wouldn't mind, but I asked Chris, I'm like, do you mind if Shane and I go play, and do you mind handing out the awards and taking a picture for me and stuff like that? He's like, no problem. Thank God he said yes because, our team were short guys, so I would have had to miss the game. So thankfully it was, Black Ice and Alkali playing in that game. 2 good friends of mine. So they kind of jumped in and helped out when Shane and I were playing. So
he's very helpful. He's funny. He told me a couple of weeks ago, he was all excited because, he's all into Pat Maroon and stuff, and the boys, they all met them, his whole team.
Yeah.
I think they all went to St. Louis last time in St. Louis out to Pat Maroon's wife, Francesca's family owns an Italian restaurant. The whole team went to it.
Yeah.
And Pat met them there, met all the kids, and, Pat's a great guy. He was talking to them. But, they ordered some of those big rig shirts from the Stanley Cup. So Chris was wearing one night. I saw him out at ice hockey. We had a pickup game, and I guess his son made Pat's Instagram with wearing the shirt or whatever. Cool. That made the kid's day.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, no. So back to the 14U division. The Salt and Iska were, didn't make that final game, but they had a good game between one another. It was an 8-5 game. Iska win, but overall it was a pretty competitive division with Alkali and Black Ice just leading the charge. So 2 good teams. A lot of familiarity between the 2 teams, but some real good players. It's funny, like, as they get a little older, kids are getting better and better, especially these ice kids who are playing a lot more roller hockey. It's awesome to see. Let me pull up a picture here. Champs Black Ice. And here is our MVP, Mr. Standard from Mission Black Ice. And our silver medalists, Alkali, New York. All right, so we're going to move on to our 1600 division. Another good division at state at the Fall Invitational. 16U was awesome. Um, again, Gladiators took charge in that division. They were actually a last-second add. The Choice Inline Cougars had to bail because of the interstate travel for the New Jersey teams, so they bailed, and the Gladiators took their place. And Steve Goodman, he was able to pick up a pretty good team last second, and they ended up beating the Assault in the finals. A great final there, Tim.
Chris Hoysick told me he thought this might have been the best 16U division that we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it was pretty competitive because, I mean, honestly, we haven't seen the Gladiators in the past couple tournaments. They play NAROL, a lot of ice hockey, so they don't really play too many tournaments as a team. So it was pretty cool to see the Gladiators back in action. The final, it was like second to last final of the day. It was a huge, huge storm going on, rainstorm. Here on Long Island, there's tornado warning that took place. So I know, my family, my household, everyone was going to the basement. But yeah, so we had to move rinks. One rink was leaking a little more than the other, so we had to move rinks halfway. I think it was halfway through the first period. Maybe, yeah, I think it was 5 minutes left in the first or so. We had to move rinks. So the Gladiators were up 2-0. I heard the goals were kind of caused by the rain, by the wet rink. I didn't see the goals, but Assault ended up coming back. It's a competitive game, back and forth, and Gladiators ended up just taking it home. Made a real strong team there. Final score.
When I look at the scores, Greg, so that inline 309 Stingrays team, who is not a bad team, they went 0-3, but I look, they only lost 3-2 to Alkali.
Yeah.
And then they lost, I think, 6-3 to New Jersey Assault, who was undefeated through the round robin. So even though they were 0-3, they were right in those games.
They were. And that game was actually against the Assault was actually a pretty competitive game. A lot of back and forth action there as well. And, the Assault got the best of them, but competitive division, man. Gladiators leading the way with Alex Gatone getting MVP honors. It's good to see the Gatone family back at the rink. It's been a little while.
Great family.
Yeah. So let me pull up some pictures here.
That's probably why Dad John wasn't playing 45s with the Scorchers. He might have been over there watching his boy play.
Yeah. You have the Glads here.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Gatone, MVP.
All the Gatone boys were always good hockey players.
Oh, yeah. And you're a silver medalist to Assault.
Luke Ranucci's becoming a better player, huh, Greg?
Yeah, he was playing up in pro too. For a little guy, he plays like his father. He's starting to get a little more aggressive out there. He works his tail off, and he's getting really good. He had some nice goals in that final against the Gladiators. Nice little backhand goal I saw. Nice goal before that. So yeah, he's stepping up his game, and he's wearing some big shoes now.
Oh yeah. So now the 18U division there was a 4-team division. Mission Black Ice, New Jersey Assault. The Lizard Kings came out from Georgia to play 18U and junior, which is pretty awesome. And then the Gladiators from PA filled out the division. There was a lot of their 16U guys mixed in with some older guys. Black Ice went 3-0, the only undefeated team to start that division. But then I saw, New Jersey Assault then pulled the upset. It's tough to beat a good team twice, Greg.
That's what they always say, Tim. It's always hard. And yeah, I think they shut Black Ice down 3-0 in the.
It was 3-2 in the round robin, so it was going to be a battle.
Yeah, so it was a 3-0 game. The Assault, man, they're getting a lot of energy. Playing pro now, getting some experience, getting better and better as a team. A couple of those players are playing pro now. So
Justin Favaloro led the team in scoring with 6 points.
Yeah, he looked good this weekend. He's finally learning from his father how to play the game the right way. But the Assault, they only beat the Lizard Kings 3-0. Lizard Kings were in every game. They lost.
They lost 3-2 to Black Ice Lizard Kings, Greg.
Yes, they lost 2-1 to Black Ice in 18s in round robin, and Black Ice ended up going to the final. They lost 5-4 to the Gladiators, and 3-0 later on to the Assault. So yeah, I mean, every team was real good in this division. It was anyone's game. Gladiators, they kind of threw something together last second for us. Some of their 16 new players, but the early game against Black Ice on Sunday, not the 9-1 game, their goalie didn't show. He pulled a no-show on the guys. I felt terrible for him. Kind of stunk. It was a 7 a.m. game. These kids woke up, some of them drove pretty far just to play, and their goalie didn't show up, so that stunk. I felt bad for them. So they had to play with 5 guys. But yeah, ultimately, the final was a great
picture
game.
for those guys, Greg. Assault.
Sure do. Let me pull one up. Here's the Assault here.
It's when you get a lot of guys. You got, little Comito, little Granucci, little Favaloro. It's like seeing a flashback of the 45 and over team, 25 years ago. When I first got this picture, Greg, I made a joke. I sent it to John. Go back to that picture for a second. I said, "Wow, this division really aged Justin coaching here." When I saw that guy in the middle, got a good chuckle out of those guys.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm having a little technical difficulties here. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, Dom Marico was MVP.
Yeah.
Let me pull up a picture of him. That is actually Mario's nephew, Tim.
Yep. That's our accountant.
Yep.
Winning the goal MVP as a goaltender for Assault there.
Yeah, he looked real good with huge shutout in the finals.
Raul Bautista makes a comment here, Greg. Like he's always recruiting ice players to play roll hockey. When they get there, they love it. Now you hear that all the time, Greg. They finally get those ice kids to come out and try it out, and then they love it and they fall in love with the game. It's just getting them there. You got to lead that horse to water. And there's a lot of ice guys out there that don't know the game. They just think it's when they were a kid, maybe shooting a tennis ball into a garbage can in the street or something like that. They don't realize the level of play of the roller game that we play. But when they come out, the kids definitely love it, because anyone that's been to state wars or our tournaments or majority of ice tournaments can see the difference. It's all about fun, and they just love the atmosphere. And even in this crazy COVID world, I think we're doing a pretty good job, but obviously it could be a lot better in normal times of how much more excitement we can have at the rink with sponsors and people hanging out all day and all the goodies that we do. But, making the best of it now. And as Vinny Comito said, I'm just grateful that we're able to have a tournament these days. So big thank you to all the families, coaches, players, and officials and staff members that help make it happen, because it's just definitely something we all need right now, I think.
Yeah, no, it's nice to get out and actually have play some hockey, a little normalcy now. And it's great to see all the parents and players, just especially from New Jersey, since that last minute New Jersey, no youth sport interstate thing. You still saw the Jersey players there. They're like, listen, we're going to play some hockey.
100%.
So everyone's just itching to play, so.
So we're going to jump back over to Sportsplex, Greg. So probably the most difficult division to win in the tournament was the Senior A division.
As always.
This division continues to grow. And I remember there was years ago, you made a comment, Greg, that you were worried about this division. Like, there's so many teams that, they don't do so well. They don't win. Are they going to stop playing or whatever? And this division just continues to grow. I know in the summer, it usually hits about 40 teams to the point we've split it to A, B for playoffs.
Yeah.
But for this weekend alone, Senior A had 20 teams. And, a lot of them were pretty local. We had PA, New Jersey, and New York teams made up, I think all the teams in that division just from those 3 states. This was how many guys are playing. But yeah, it was a good division. They played 3 round robin games. We had 4 teams that started out 3-0. Gata Hockey from PA, the Jaguars of New Jersey, the Rink Rat New York City Empire White team, and 2-10 Wheelers from PA. They were all undefeated 3-0. And then the Liberty went 2-0-1 with a tie, so they were technically undefeated as well. But yeah, it started out that way. Then the top 10 teams would make the playoffs. And, we had some playing games to get to the quarterfinals and whatnot. But, really, really tough stuff here leading the way. And, Gata Hockey wound up running the gamut. And with these guys, think about it. So they went 3-0. Then they had to play a game. They played Old Glory, who they had played already in the round robin, beat them. Then they had, that was a quarterfinal. Then they played a semifinal over the Trashers that they won. And then the championship, they beat the Empire 8-2 pretty convincingly.
Wow.
So those guys played 6 games in the tournament over 2 days. So that's a lot of hockey for those guys. And they're a pretty impressive team watching them. I didn't really know a lot of those guys, but pretty impressive.
I think a lot of the, at least a couple of them used to play on that PA Vipers team.
Okay.
You know, that come to State Wars. I think a couple like Jay Allen, a couple other guys, you know, they played at State Wars plenty of times.
Yeah, you know, the MVP was number 7, Matt Phillips, who, you know, had a good playoff, had 5 points in the playoffs or whatnot. And I know in that 8-2 championship game, he had 2 goals, 2 assists. That's him on the far left, shorter guy with the goatee. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points for the most valuable player. But yeah, good group of guys, and you know, it was fun watching those guys play. Got a little heated at the end with the Empire. I think the Empire guys were just a little bit of everything, frustrated. You know, they had lost the top 35 and over game. We'll get into a little bit some of those guys, and to be around all day and to lose the final. And you know, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of frustration. But you know, even I had to get out there at the end of this, help settle things down. Coach Otto was getting a little fired up, yelling at the players. Had to tell him to get the hell off the rink, and so that was always funny. But you know, God of hockey, congrats to them winning a very tough 20-team senior A division.
Wow, yeah, it's always impressive no matter, you know, what division it is. If there's, you know, 20 teams in the division, and to be able to win that, it's pretty impressive to say the least.
And it was done a little differently too. We had, you know, 5 brackets of 4 pools, Greg. So you played everyone in your little pool, and then the top 2 in each advanced out, and then it's seeded up. So it was a fun way to do it, I thought. I think the guys had a good time.
Yeah.
And then we'll just jump in the last division over at Sportsplex before we get back to pro and junior for you, was the 35 and over division. So we had a 17 35 and over division. Mission Snipers, New York, the Rink Rat New York City Empire team from New York, and the Grinders from New York. And then we had from New Jersey, the DSC La Beta Devils, Tor Assault, New Jersey Assault, and the New Jersey Rink Rat Empire. And same thing, we played 2 round robin games, and then everyone made the playoffs. So the Mission Snipers and the Devils both were 2-0 the first day, and the Tor Assault and Empire, who had both tied a game, went 1-0-1. So really tight across the board. And you know, the wildest game of the tournament, and you know, it's funny even talking about it because I was involved in it. You know, the Mission Snipers played the Empire from New York in the semifinal, Greg. And I'll admit, going into it, you know, our sniper lineup, you know, we had a couple guys like myself that are, you know, pushing 50 on the team. You know, we didn't have the strongest lineup across the board. You know, a couple older guys just filling a role. And the Empire they got a lot of speed. They're just so energetic. They played their first, you know, we had to buy the first round, their quarterfinal against the New Jersey Assault. They were flying out there and screaming and banging. And they just have, you think it's an NHL game with these guys. And they went up 3-0 on us in the semifinal. At halftime, we're up 3-0. And it looked like the game was over. They had all the momentum. And somehow we came back, got a couple screenshots in for goals. And Jim Tamburino on our team scored a great goal with a minute left to make it 4-3. And we somehow came back and won 4-3 in that semi, and then went on to defeat the Tor Assault in the final in a great game. Our goalie, Jerry Joya, played great in the final. And we won 2-1 to win the championship for the second full invitational in a row from the Mission Snipers. But it was a pretty strong division. I think probably 4 to 5 teams in that division could have won that division for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that division's always very good. You know, some tournaments, you know, it's kind of like a little pro division, honestly, like a lot of ex-pro guys, a lot of skill. And again, like those Empire guys, you know, they come with 3 lines and they come hard. You know, they play with a lot of energy, and you know, they're out to prove something. You know, I don't think they've won a tournament yet, you know, a State Wars tournament yet, you know, Winter Wars fall or even summer, but you know, they're right there. They're just trying to prove a point, especially against the Snipers. So, you know, a lot of ex-snipers on that team that used to play with the Snipers back in the day. But yeah, always a strong division. I always enjoy playing it. Obviously, I couldn't this year. because I was stuck on an island in Marple. But yeah, here's the champions of the 35 plus division snipers.
Yeah, and on that Empire team, Carmelo Stracuzzi was real impressive this weekend, and Jim Cody, who plays down at Skate Safe, I think he's pretty underrated. To me, he's one of the top 2 or 3 players on that Empire team. Very unselfish player, great skater. And then when you play the Tour Salt in the final, and I'm out there and I'm covering Jim McGrath, I'm just like, oh my God, get me off the rink. Such a great player, and still playing pro with Isker and whatnot. But yeah, just it was a fun division to be a part of, and obviously a little bit of luck, winning that semifinal, coming back. But it was fun to win, and the Tour Salt are always a great team to play against. It was a great final against those guys. So that kind of closed out things over at the Sportsplex, and the final 2 divisions that we held. People were asking, why is pro at Marple? Why is junior at Marple? The rinks are a little bit smaller there and whatnot. And honestly, the reason is a couple of reasons. One, we kind of wanted the kids divisions, the youth divisions, when they were there, to be able to watch some pro, to see that level. So that was pretty cool for them. And then also, the junior division makes up a lot of the 18U division. So you kind of have to have junior where 18Us are. And then you got to have the 16s where the 18s are, and the 14s where the 16s are, and it trickles down. And there's so many of the juniors play pro, it just made sense that the least overflow or overlap of divisions are 35, 45, A and double A. Not as many guys are playing in those divisions. So
yeah,
pro and junior were over at Marple. And I know you had some great hockey. So let's talk about junior and pro, Greg.
Yeah, we'll start with the junior division. I mean, it's like a pro division as well. A lot of these players are playing up in the pro division or high-end senior division. But again, you had Lizard Kings. They made the trip, played both 18s and juniors. Unfortunately, the New Jersey Rink Rat team bailed last second due to the restrictions for New Jersey. So we basically had a team hop in each game. In a perfect world, we'd love to have just one team kind of fill in, but to make it work, we just kind of threw in some competitive teams to play those games. So we're thankful for those teams. We appreciate you guys helping out and hopping in there, playing those games for New Jersey Empire. But yeah, no, another strong division. The Assault, obviously very good team as always. PA Liberty and Roadrunners. All the top teams there. Iska Grizzlies had a good tournament as well. Always a strong team. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Tour Roadrunners took down PA Liberty in the championship game. Final score 5-4. Roadrunners had the game for the most part, and PA scored towards the end to make it a 5-4 game. For me watching that, it was the last game of the tournament. Roadrunners seemed like they were just kind of playing the game out. They were just still running and gunning, trying to score goals towards the end. They weren't slowing it down. It seemed like they just wanted to score goals and get out of there. They played a lot better in pro, and I'm sure they were pretty tired because that pro final went to double overtime. But we'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, Roadrunners took down Liberty, and Liberty ended up being the Assault in the semifinal. So
Right, I don't know if these stats are wrong, but I'm looking here in 3 round robin games in junior. Max Halverson, 6 goals, 14 assists for 20 points. Wow.
Yeah, unless there was 268s on the team, it must be right.
I mean, almost want to say, Max, relax a little bit. Let these guys play a little bit,
I mean, they had a 12-4 game against Iska, so he might have had a bunch of points there. They had a lot of high scoring games, 8-0, 12-4, 5-4 final, 5-3 game against New Jersey Assault. But yeah, Max Halverson was actually the MVP of the tournament. No surprise.
Junior
I'm sorry. David Christopher was.
Junior.
Yeah, David Christopher was the MVP of the junior division. Honestly, he's probably my new top player. Kid can play. He's a Buffalo kid. He's been coming to State Wars last couple tournaments. Played with Envious as well, and now he's playing with Liberty up in pro, and I guess the Roadrunners up in junior. But the kid can play, man. He's got a good shot. He's feisty on the rink. Like his game. I like his game. He might be future Team USA material as well, Tim. So keep an eye out on him.
So Sarah Sinning was playing with the juniors, and that was cool seeing Sarah in the picture for those guys.
Yes, Sarah Sinning played up in junior with those guys as well. So here's the team. Here's the champions of the junior division, Toward Roadrunners.
It actually looks like Vio's smiling through that mask, believe it or not.
This was the last game of the night, so he was ready to get out of there. He was looking at his car, probably starting it, warming up.
And shout out to Vio for getting the boys there and Coach Ralph.
Yeah, and girl, Sarah. But here's Jeremy P. David Christopher.
Awesome. Yeah, like Max Albertson, 20 points. And like his dad says, dancers dance, I guess.
I'd say so. Yeah, so we'll get into the pro division here. I know, obviously you didn't see any of the pro games, but, it was a pretty competitive division. It's funny, out of the gate, you go into the tournament, you think Roadrunners, you think Envious, and you think Liberty. Those are my top teams of the tournament, just because, I think they have a majority of their guys, that always play with them in the summertime. I threw in a team kind of last second there, the beta team. We went 0-2-1, and still ended up coming in fourth seed. So if you did have a second semi, Tim, we would have been in it.
Wow.
No, not that I was looking to play any more games, because the way I was playing, work came first, and if honestly, if there was more games for Shane and I on Sunday, it would have been a little trouble there with work and play.
If you can't make the top 3 of the 6 teams, you ain't winning. So that's how I look at it.
Hey, you never know. I think when I played with Black Ice for the winter wars, we came in 4th.
Right. I like tournaments like this though, where it really makes the round robin mean something, because there's a lot of tournaments where, and we've had it even at State Wars, where depending on how it's going, where you could basically have a brutal round robin, not win any. I've seen tournaments where a team doesn't win a game and then wins a championship because everyone makes the playoffs, and it really takes the onus off the round robin. Oh, doesn't mean anything, So it's nice with something like this, where you got to come to play, because in reality, if you don't come to play, you're not going to get a medal. I mean, there's some sports out there. I know my daughters with soccer. There's divisions where there's not even a champion. It's just the most points wins. That's most of it. And then once in a while you have a championship game, but usually it's not even that. So,
yeah,
people are a little spoiled in roller hockey where they used to get in so many teams making the playoffs. But I like this setup where, the round robin really meant something, and you got to win some games. And you guys didn't even win a game in the round robin, so you don't deserve to make the playoffs.
No, I agree. So 2 games of that division that really stick out to me are Envious Rink Rat versus New Jersey Assault. Envious Rink Rat went up 3-0. Had a ton of shots on net. I think the shots are definitely wrong on the game sheet here, because New Jersey's goalie played absolutely incredible. Pretty sure that was Jake.
Nick Matakis, right?
Yeah, Jake. Yeah. He stood on his head. But looking at the game sheet here, it said Mike Taddeo scored a couple goals for the Assault, but I don't think he was playing in that game.
Yeah, Jake Lakatos, right? And he's played before many times at Winter Wars and stuff.
Yeah.
I know John Granucci, he rushed over to our 45 and over game. He made the second path, and he was like giddy as a little schoolgirl, how excited he was about that tie. He came over, we tied an NBA Rink. He was so excited, which is great. How much it meant to him and the boys to win. Oh, excuse me, to tie, which felt like a win to those guys.
Yeah, because they came back at the end and tied it with 4 seconds left in the clock.
Yeah, that envious Rink Rat team. I mean, they came, and I know they don't have their full team here, but they came out of State Wars as, one of the big boys. So that's a big, big tie for New Jersey Assault. And again, those are the kind of games, Greg, that just build confidence in guys that they can hang,
Yeah. So, I mean, after that, the Assault, kind of took a back seat, Roadrunners beat them 7-0, and then they lost to Liberty 8-0 after that. So, not sure if it was a little bit of luck, a little bit of energy, in that first game, but hats off to the Assaults, for playing a good tournament there. But yeah, champions were Toward Roadrunners.
Who the Roadrunners play in the final, Greg?
Yeah, so the Roadrunners ended up playing Envious in the final. And
That was
game,
the double overtime, right?
yeah, so that was a double overtime game. And Envious actually tied the game up, I think, with seconds left in the clock. There was 8 seconds left in the clock.
Just Hackett, right?
Jess Hackett had a nice rebound goal out of the air off of, I think Keith Johnson hit it off his glove or his chest, bounced out. He whacked it in. Again, I said it before, and you said it as well, but Jess Hackett's, a very underrated player, and he's got some awesome hand-eye coordination. I think it's due to that ball hockey, deck hockey that he plays. But what a phenomenal goal he scored, and then Max Halverson finally buried. Double overtime, nice shot, and thank God, because any longer we'd have been pulling our hair out in the stands. But it was great back and forth action and awesome championship game. The Liberty ended up losing to the Envious team in the semifinal. It was 5-2 game. Our boy Bar Down, Dan Healy, played phenomenal this weekend.
Big.
Yeah, stepped it up. And, in that semifinal, Liberty ended up going up 1-0, and then Envious scored a couple, and it's a good game. And towards the end, Envious ended up burying the last 3 goals of the game. So,
yeah, Joe Koski jumped on and said it was Frankie Jirac with the goals. I guess the ones that were down for Taddeo.
okay.
Jirac, and Mike Jacobs asking, will this be available on replay? Just getting on. Yeah, obviously this will be saved onto Facebook, and guys can go back on and click on it because it goes right to YouTube and is saved on our YouTube channel. So we usually get a couple thousand views of this when it's over. So yeah, anyone can go back on and check out our YouTube page or click on the link from our Facebook page to watch the replay of this podcast. But yeah, Greg, that I'm sure when you're watching that double overtime game, you're probably saying, holy shit, is this game ever going to end? Like, can we do something right now in our rules to make it a shootout or whatnot? Because this thing might go for 5 days now.
Yeah, I had a bunch of people come up to me. Oh, is there, you guys got to do a shootout now. You guys got to do a shootout. I'm like, well, you know what? Someone's going to score pretty soon. We're just waiting. And it was more of a control game towards like the end of towards late in overtime, just because guys seemed tired. They didn't want to make that mistake. But thank God for Max Halverson, because I think we'd still be there if he didn't bury it, because the goalies played phenomenal. Envious' goalie really stood out to me. I've never seen him play before. He looked really good to me. Stood on his head. His name's Brandon Junik.
Okay.
And, never heard of him. I think he's a Buffalo guy. Not 100% there, but he really stood out to me as well.
Greg, one of the things I didn't mention about great games, in that 35 and over semifinal, the one semifinal, the Snipers came back against Empire, but the other one was Torres Salt playing against the DSC Levada Devils. And what a wild finish there. So in that game, we had a tie score. I'm not sure if it was 2-2 or whatnot. It doesn't matter. But it was a tie game. And the Devils scored with, I believe, 9 seconds left in the game to go up by a goal to go to the semifinal, to go to the championship. And, we're watching from above, like, all right, this is over. And then there's a face-off at center, and the Devils actually won the draw back clean. And the defenseman, who's a good player, just could have killed the game. Instead, he flicked it out, and it hit the netting. Ooh. And it wound up being a deep face-off at his own goal side with 2 or 3 seconds left. And Assault won the face-off, clean back, one-timer off the draw shot, and tied the game with 1 second left. Oh. And then wound up winning in overtime to go to the final. So it was a crazy 2 games in a row and 35 and over, and it just goes to show for all those kids at home watching. Again, you and I talk a lot about the importance of face-offs all the time, but just how you're never out of a game. These were guys with 9 seconds left. Most guys would have packed it up and went home. These guys went out, took the draw, fought through it, got a tie-in game with 1 second left, and you never know. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me one bit with the Assault, though. Was it the Assault, right?
Yeah, Torres Assault are the ones that tied it.
Yeah, I mean, they're experienced guys. They've been around forever, and there's so much skill on that team. Was Taddeo on that team?
No,
Okay.
Patio did not play.
Okay.
I'm looking here on that tying goal. So the tying goal was, let's see, um, one,
Is it Mike Coyle?
yeah, Mike Coyle put them ahead, and then Jeff Lynn scored in overtime.
Yeah, no surprise. Jeff's been a long time player, State Wars player. He's a good player. He's a rookie as well, I think, too. So he's a young guy in the division.
Yeah, the rookies in 35 and 45 are always the best players. It's the one division that the rookies are the best players at 35 and over 45. And our new 55 and over this summer, Greg, we'll have it State Wars in St. Louis. I'm sure that'll be the same thing. Those guys just turning 55 will be the young bucks in
Yeah,
that division.
yeah. It's funny, a lot of the 35 and over teams, they want to stay together and stuff like that. But you also have to think, I mean, this division's only getting younger, right? So it's like one of those deals where you keep the team together and maybe be a little slower and older, or do you just get a little younger as well?
No,
So
it's amazing. I think of myself, I'm 47, gonna be 48. I remember 3 years ago, was it? I don't know if it was the Winter Wars or Fall Invitational. We beat the Assault 2-0 in the championship, and I had both goals in the final. And here we are, fast forward a few years, and I'm just getting out there in a 35 and over game. I just want to make a mistake and just get out and not give up any goals and play good defense. So it
yeah,
changes real fast how you go from feeling like a good player out there to just getting by, and it changes. And then you're looking forward to 45 and over. So
yeah,
we have a lot of our buddies right there at that age where they're like 42 and they're like, they want to fast forward their life till they can play 45 and over.
yeah, right. No, it's too funny. No, 35s are always a great division, and DSC. I mean, they're always right there. They're going to get there one day, one of these days, and get over that hump. I see Empire as well doing that as well, and two good teams. Anyone can win that division. So.
And every year, these rookies coming in could always be the difference maker. Who's going to pick up that stud coming up, right? I'm sure in Missouri this summer,
Oh,
that Car Shield team, they could probably have two top teams in 35. There'll be some good players.
I'm just thinking about names now. I mean, Simon Shaw and Travis Turnbull, Kramer, Bruce.
Yeah.
All
When the
these-
tournament's away, they might not come back and forth, but when it's there, they
yeah,
can play. And I'm thinking about California, Greg. I mean, Nathan Sigmund
yeah.
and Troy
Right.
Redmond could play 35 and over next summer. Is that scary or what?
It's stupid. Yeah.
I mean, Nathan Sigmund is still one of the best players in the pro division.
Yeah. It's silly.
Talk about dancing. So, that's scary to think about facing off against Nathan Sigmund out there in 35 and over next summer. So
Yeah,
hopefully he'll think he's too good for that. But
so,
yeah, so that's the wrap of the divisions at Sportsplex and at Marple. And like Greg mentioned earlier, we want to thank the staffs there. So at Marple, Anthony Flynn and his staff and all the scorekeepers there that help out. And over at Sportsplex, Tony Vos and his staff do a great job over there as well. And all the refs and scorekeepers that put the time in, we thank you guys for all your hard work because, Greg and I have the easy job once the tournament starts, reffing the game, scorekeeping, that kind of stuff is the more difficult stuff than just sitting in the office and just fixing stats and dealing with it once in a while a complaint. Best thing about Kobe, Greg, is no one really wants to complain too much because they want to keep away from everybody. And I just start coughing if someone wants to complain and they run the other way. So it works out now in COVID 2020.
yeah, I had to deal with a couple parents, unfortunately, and we did have a suspension, but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing for the most part. Again, teams play their games and get out of there. We had one complaint saying that, they were upset with some people for staying around the rink and watching games, but did my research and, when teams are playing multiple divisions, it's tough for them to leave. They have a game in 2 games or whatever the case is. So,
Right.
That's the only reason why people were kind of staying around.
Right.
But
Well, it's funny. One of the jokes we had at Sportsplex, Brian and I were working there, it was an adult only weekend, but we had 2 youth games Sunday morning. We had a 12U and a 14U back to back 7 a.m. early games.
yeah,
And there were a couple of parents screaming and yelling behind the glass at the goalie and yelling at the ref. And it was kind of the joke at the rink that the only yelling we heard at one point was just from this 2 youth games we had the whole weekend over there, some parents. So,
yeah,
parents get a little crazy, obviously, as we all know.
Yeah, they do.
at these games. But there's a lot of passion involved. I think sometimes we need to have a reality check with our kids and let them enjoy it a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, especially at the 6U level. We had a not a huge complaint. We had a guy get kicked out of a game, and that should never happen in 6U.
No.
It should be all about fun in that division, all positive stuff, and um, that stuff should not happen in the 6U division. But we battled through it, and it is what it is, and hopefully everyone had a good time.
Yeah, we always joke around. Instead of live streaming the games, we want to live stream the parents and have a camera on all the crazy parents or fans that are yelling the whole game at their kids, and just stream that. I think we get a lot more viewership on that.
I agree.
And maybe these parents could watch the video later on and go, "Wow, I'm crazy," and not realize how nuts they get sometimes at the games.
Yeah. Some of them even know it though.
I think what people have to recognize sometimes is it's not an NHL game. You should just be there rooting for your kid, and that's it. Not jeering the other team and yelling at a 12-year-old when he gets a penalty and banging on the glass at them. And, it's just, you should go there, enjoy, have fun. But, if it's life or death and you're living through your kid and you're screaming and yelling and you're making them miserable and cry on the car ride home, they're probably not going to play for too long. So try to back off and just enjoy the ride, because as many will tell you, it ends pretty quick. When the kids stop playing, you miss it. So, it was great hockey at both spots. We were so thankful to get the tournament off, obviously, and at the size of it. I mean, it was 3 times the size as last year's Fall Invitational, which is amazing. So the event just continues to grow. The one thing I came away from, Greg, I don't know if you heard comments at your place, but once again, I know people were loving the on-time game starts, not starting early. And I know for me, there was a couple times I'm running around, like, oh, shoot, I got a game coming up. And the game had ended on the rink and I'm rushing and I'm like, oh, wait, I got 15 minutes. I'm looking at the time. So to me, that's definitely the way to go in the future. It just works out so great.
Yeah, no, definitely. A bunch of people commented on that, and, teams were there ready to go, early, but at the same time, we did start basically on time for all of our games over at Marple, maybe a couple minutes early, if that, but people did appreciate that, I think. And, especially the people who are going back and forth, not knowing if there would be a mercy before the game or whatever. But I think people really do appreciate it.
I think even with the refs and scorekeepers, Greg, I mean, as much as they want to make their money and get in and out, I think it's nice that a game ends, I'm a ref, and even though, human nature takes over, so I just had a tough game with some coaches or players, and now I have 5-minute break. I'm relaxing. Then I have a 3-minute warm up, and it just kind of lets even the refs kind of maybe run to the bathroom, get a drink, relax a minute. Scorekeeper, same thing. And we're all human, and just gives us that reset button for a minute. And I think it's nice rather than just that roll over really quick, get as much in as we can, and people just going crazy and have no time to, reset.
It's definitely good for the mental state of things, especially for a player, right? Just prepping for a game, knowing that, you're going to play at that time.
Right.
Players getting dressed, or, especially goalies, they're, how mental they are. But, the thing is, on Sundays, you just never know with playoffs and overtimes and stuff like that. So that's the only way, we get far behind, is if there's a bunch of overtimes. But ultimately, we weren't too far behind with our overtimes over at Marple, even with that double overtime pro game. But that's the only time I really do like the, start early rule, is on Sundays, because sometimes, overtimes could really, playoffs could really screw things up. But
hold on 1 second.
Tim, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you end up finishing Kingdom?
Not yet. So I'm up to episode 3 in season 3.
Okay, you got
that long second season, which was unreal. So such a great show. Anyone at home that is into looking for a good Netflix show, I highly recommend Kingdom. Greg had suggested it to me, and just a great show. Really loving it, and still like I told you, I started rewatching Entourage. I've been watching that as well. So that's definitely keeping me busy right now.
Nice. Now, you want to talk about next year at all?
Yeah. So
Some
hold
of
on.
our
Let me hear
events.
from Dennis Chelsea real quick.
This is Dennis Jelsic, coach of the Issaquah Grizzlies. When I'm not doing my weather reports, Jelsic one, along with commenting on Facebook and coaching high school soccer, I'm listening to Stay Wars podcast. You should too. Enjoy it.
So we missed our buddy DJ this weekend at the Fall Invitational. He stopped down at Sportsplex real quick one night. Just couldn't keep away. Had to come by and say hello. But it definitely wasn't the same without DJ at the rink this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have seen him anyway, just because he probably been working at Marple with us because of the youth teams and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of weird not seeing Jelsic at all during the event. It was kind of quiet, which was kind of nice, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He didn't
Yeah,
remind us 100 times of how much he does. So
right. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about next year. So next year is State Wars is being held at the St. Peter's Recplex in St. Peter's, Missouri. I believe this is our 4th time holding it there, Greg. The entire event's being held July 20th to August 2nd. Beautiful facility. Those that haven't been there, I know it's some people's favorite spot to go. 3 NHL-sized rinks. One of them is like a stadium seating rink with the locker rooms tunnel into the bench areas on both sides. Great facility, and there's a couple pretty close by rinks that we're able to use for overflow as well. Just a beautiful city-owned facility. They have pools on site and a lot of water park rides and stuff like that for the kids and whatnot that they could buy a pass for the weekend. It's only about 10 minutes from Lindenwood University, which Greg went to, which is well known in the sport. I know a lot. They always set up tours for that because Lindenwood is well known in roller hockey with scholarships and whatnot for the sport. I know a lot of people have gone to Lindenwood through going there from State Wars and meeting the staff there and whatnot. Ron Beelston, head coach, has usually set that up. So just a great spot. It's only 10 minutes from the airport. Just a real unreal location for State Wars. Last time we were there, we had over 300 teams. Expect the same this summer. So, real excited for that. And, obviously, we're still in that unknown stage. We have Winter Wars West booked for the end of February 26th to 28th in Corona and Irvine this year with HB closing down. And then we're back in Marple and Feasterville March 19th to 21st for Winter Wars East. So, Greg, with so much unknown yet, I mean, honestly, people are asking, are we going back to the old way? Are we running tryouts with the kids? Are we, letting people bring their own state team like last year and wear their own uniforms? And honestly, obviously, the goal is to go back to tryouts. At some point, we'll be back to that. I'm hoping it's this year. It might not be to 2022, but that's the plan, obviously. That's when State Wars was at its best and works the best. So we'll make that decision right after the new year and make a major announcement about that, how we're going to handle that. Going to see how this winter goes here. I know, there's a vaccine on the horizon, and who knows when this election stuff's all done, how things settle down in different states. And hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll get back to some more normalcy where we know we're going to be traveling all the time for tryouts. But that's obviously the goal. But who knows if it's going to be getting into the spring and we're not sure about travel yet, then we'll have to go the route like we did last year, which worked great. Teams brought their own team, Greg. They wore their own uniforms. There was definitely a uniqueness to it. Some people love it that way, but obviously we still love having our own uniforms. On the adult side, however, we're definitely going to start moving towards allowing teams to wear their own uniforms on the adult side, and teams will be given an option whether they could pay a certain fee and get their jerseys through us or have their own matching jerseys, and they have to have matching jerseys to then bring their own and pay a certain fee to come and wear their own uniform. It'll be an option because we don't want to make the adults have to buy uniforms if they don't need them because it's their own team, whereas the kids are tryouts and whatnot. So that's what I could see happening for 2021.
Cool. How about Midwest Wars and Southeast Wars? Have we booked any dates for those yet?
Yeah, I mean, Midwest Wars, we have booked back in Illinois. So I'm looking at my book here. So April 16th to 18th will be Midwest Wars back in Illinois. And then we haven't booked it yet, but I'm thinking probably the first weekend of June, we'll be back in Raleigh, hopefully, to try that Southeast Wars tournament back over at the XL Energy. What do they call it? XL Energy? What do they call it?
XL Sports World.
Sports World. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we'll have that. Hopefully we gotta get that dialed in. Everyone, it's still that unknown right now with so much stuff, but just
Yeah.
hoping, that Winter Wars West could kick off end of February in Cali, and then obviously back to PA for Winter Wars East. And I've already heard from teams. I don't want to mention names. I don't want to be that guy to say teams are coming and they don't come, but I've heard from some pretty cool youth organizations from different parts of the country that have never been to Winter Wars before, talking about coming out to Pennsylvania next March.
Cool.
So that'll be pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And yeah, it was unfortunate this year. Originally we were supposed to have 140 some odd teams for our original Winter Wars East. That would have been our biggest. I have a feeling, next year could be same number or maybe even bigger. So
yeah, we got a plan too. I mean, this is just talking out loud, but maybe we had something this weekend where youth divisions are at Marple and certain divisions are at Sports West, and we're not making people go back and forth like we normally do. We just have both rinks booked out the whole time, and we got to figure it out. But
yeah,
definitely a good problem to worry about how we're going to fit everybody. So
and we might be throwing in an extra tournament on the Northeast somewhere as well. So keep an eye out on that as well.
Yeah, people are just starving to play, and I think everyone knows, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think we do it the best in the business, and people love coming to these events. So we want to, when there's supply and demand, you want to fill it, but we don't want to overbear anybody either, because the concern always is you have too much and it takes away from having the big one. So we want to always make it where every event we have is special, and we don't want it to be where we run a million half-ass tournaments. We always want to have the best ones possible. So that takes time and the money to put into them as well. Getting back to earlier, it is a business, and we need the money in to be able to have great prizes and all the extras that we do and stuff, especially at State Wars. So you don't want to become somewhere where you're having a tournament every weekend. Like I know some guys have gone that route in tournament series where they have too many tournaments and then they just get watered down. We don't want to be those guys.
No, I get that for sure. We haven't done any birthday shout outs today. Maybe we should do some of those.
You got a big one in your family, I know.
Yeah. My niece Nora's first birthday. So shout out to her. She might even be watching today.
Okay.
My mom.
Yeah, Nora, 1 year old today, right?
1 year old. Yeah. Yep.
I know grandma's watching.
Yeah, she's always watching. I think she puts it on her TV.
Okay.
Big screen.
Yeah, I know on my end, Sebastian Marpeau, our buddy. I don't know if he's back in France now or right.
I think
he did all our slow-mo videos and whatnot at State Wars, and I think he just recently got engaged the other day. We saw as well. So Sebastian, happy birthday to him. Richard Hawkins, our former tournament state director from Nebraska.
Kansas.
Yeah. Brandon Glover from Team Ontario and the Border Cats and whatnot. Don Sandine, Donnie from down in Florida. He actually worked with us before at Southeast Wars. His birthday. The other day was David Choi's I saw, who was one of our Team Korea coaches, who had brought a team to Michigan a few years ago. I saw it was his birthday.
Yeah. You can't forget about Long Island, New York legend Jimmy Vavona. It's his birthday today as well.
Okay.
Number 99. And my buddy from Michigan, Adam Krepsky, who used to play on the Border Cats. It's his birthday as well. So happy birthday to him.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no, because what is today's date, Greg?
Today is the 19th.
The 19th. Okay. Yeah, looking here, we had who else here?
Mark Vogel from New Jersey. It was his birthday yesterday.
Yep.
Scotty Johnson, actually an old sniper from Florida. It's his birthday as well. He's officially 35 and over. Not
Who's
sure.
that?
Scotty Johnson.
Yep.
Not sure if he's
sniper.
playing. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's playing any more roller hockey at all, but he'd be a pretty good pickup for 35 and over. And Mike Masillo, old Long Island native who actually lives out in Arizona now.
Mm-hmm. Even Melanie, the general manager from USARS, who helped out with the other team. We had Charlie Skrill with us, but she helped out more with the junior and girls team. So it was Melanie's birthday as well.
Yeah, Joe Androsh from Long Island as well. So.
Yeah, and then coming up, I see JP Beilstein coming up in the next couple of days here.
Wow.
See his birthday's coming up, so big shout out to him from our Sniper Pro team, JP Beilstein.
Cool. Lots of birthdays.
Yeah, we all keep getting older, Greg. It stinks. I don't even want to know when my birthday is. We won't be announcing mine when it comes because I don't like talking about it. That's what happens when
Sooner than you think.
you get older. You know. So how's the baby at home with you? How's I mean, obviously, I'm sure she didn't realize you were even gone yet, no matter what you or your wife may tell you. But how's she doing?
She's doing good. Trying to get her in a routine, hopefully pretty soon here. I feel like the first one's kind of like a free for all. We kind of adapt to her, and we just got to get into a routine now. And actually have a little date night tonight, so we're getting out of the house. My mom's coming over to watch the baby, and
Nice.
right now Amy's parents are here. I think they're giving her a bath right now. So
Okay.
yeah, so she's getting a lot of love from all angles. So it's nice. The grandparents getting to see them as well, so see her as well. So
No, that's the best part is seeing grandparents with the babies. Yeah, my kids, they're at the age now. I don't know if they were happy. They used to be, you've seen it, they used to be crying like crazy when I would leave to go somewhere. I don't know. Now they're probably crying when I come home, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're just just finally getting a little more sleep now, so it's getting good.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think anything else to talk about here. I mean, we don't have much going on over the next months. I know next week we'll get back to covering some more Palma Pro Invitational rewinds. We'll do a couple more games leading to that big championship game between the Roadrunners and Black Ice. So we'll be covering that one as well. I know we're going to talk about the Sniper Black Ice semifinal, which is a pretty good game where the Black Ice obviously beat our team, and that was a pretty good game to watch. I've watched that game a few times and banged my head against the wall a couple different times watching it. So we'll cover that game and see how they beat us and towards their way to win another Palma Pro championship. But yeah, just not much really gonna be going on in the next few months. Just prepping for next year. We got some new sponsors contacting us and stuff, talking to us about wanting to get involved. So we'll be doing a lot of that kind of stuff behind the scenes. Always a big shout out. Towards the end of 2020, I want to thank all of our sponsors that helped out during the course of this whole year. Mission Bauer, Tour Hockey, Alkali Hockey, LaBeta Wheels, Rink Rat Wheels, Conix Wheels. They were all obviously our main sponsors. Warrior,
yeah.
Car Shield, Stillmat Floors that came involved with us towards the end of the year with that great floor we had in the Palma Pro division. Jord Watches, Wraparound, Top Shelf Sports, Targets, Monkey Sports. Pure Hockey just worked with us last weekend again out at the Fall Invitational, give out gift cards to all the teams. So we work a lot with Monkey Sports and with Pure Hockey. So thank you to those guys. Roller Dad News, Wheel Talk, on the social media side are big supporters and partners of ours. So we thank all those guys. And the interesting thing, Greg, is going to be just the international teams. We got teams contacting us that want to come to State Wars next year. So hopefully things are going to be able to go that route where they're going to be able to. We're hearing from teams already, Colombia, UK, Namibia, these guys want to come back. They're missing State Wars. They're jonesing on it big time. So they want to be in Missouri this summer. And so we're hoping for sure that I think we'll be okay by the summer. So I'm really hoping we're going to be able to see those teams because they got to prepare pretty early on, well in advance, and prepare for this stuff, Greg.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I know you were talking to a club or two from Australia as well, correct?
Yeah.
So
Australia and New Zealand, we had talked to some teams, so it's a matter of just getting that conversation going again here.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed that the world's a better place come 2021. Get some teams over and make State Wars even bigger and better. So
yeah, no, I mean it's got to get better here. I mean, we can only do this for so long. I'm thinking so. You saw a lot of State Wars masks at the Fall Invitational over at Marple, Greg. You see a lot of kids running around State Wars masks.
Yeah, there were. We sold a lot of masks over the weekend. We ordered a bunch for State Wars, but they came pretty late, right? I think they came like the last day.
Yeah,
we couldn't even sell them, so we had a bunch left over that we've been selling at our winter events and our fall event. But yeah, there's still some available. So if anyone is in need of a mask, State Wars mask, maybe a stocking stuffer, let us know. We'll ship them out.
Yeah, I mean, I would gladly burn all the masks we had and lose the money we paid for them if we didn't have to wear them anymore. So I hate that we're even talking about masks, but
No,
people do actually ask us, hey, you got a State Wars mask or whatever. So yeah, we'll send out some stuff before the holidays here. And every year we do that. We have some different deals on apparel and whatnot that we offer out for the holidays and whatnot. So we'll start getting on that around Thanksgiving time. So,
Yeah.
all right, well,
Cool.
great job today, GT. And you know, we'll be back next week and talking about the getting back to the Palma Pro Rewind.
Yeah, and thanks for everyone coming to the Fall Invitational. It was a great weekend and great work by everyone.
Now, who's hot, who not? Tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got pop, who knows